So what went wrong? For those in the state, the unionists, with the quotes that I just described, were blind. They were naive. It wasn't just that they felt they had to back the ANC, but they also felt like they should back the ANC now. The state had no choice but to adopt a neoliberalization given international pressures. Ex-COSATU leaders told me. Those who had gone into the state told me. Because without that, there would be no investment. There would be no economic growth. And the ANC would fail. It would fall flat on its face. Ex-unionists in the state were frustrated that their former colleagues didn't understand the realities that they were facing. It wasn't that their identities had changed, they said. Quote, it's not necessarily an ideological shift. It's an exposure to the reality of how the system functions, said one provincial minister from the union movement. Another regional minister put it differently, referring to a dance from the struggle in which participants waved this imaginary machine gun. It's called the toy-toy dance. Quote, I might not be toy-toying on the streets or marching with COSATU comrades, but what you do when you have power is to actually look at how you implement those things that you fought for. And in fact, personal ties in this new context quickly turned poisonous. Many in the unions said it was ex-unionists in the state who were the most anti-union in their policies. And again, the attacks go both ways. Because you find that those former unionists and provincial government ministers and government ministers at all levels felt that the same thing was happening from the other side. The provincial government minister who I noted a minute ago recalled attacks being particularly vicious from those that she personally knew. Quote, you talk privatization, you're a sellout. You use the word gear, you're a sellout. You talk about tight deficit control, you're a sellout, she said. And all this only narrowed the possibilities of cooperation between the social movement organizations and their old colleagues who had gone into power. Again, from this provincial minister. Eventually, I reached a point where I saw COSATU letterhead come into my office, and I would tell them, please, I don't want this. So relations between COSATU and the ANC were awful. Yet COSATU took on this bipolar approach, fighting ANC policies in the streets, but continuing to support the ANC government and continuing to send the government its own leaders in subsequent elections. Their whole rationale was that not doing this would just mean even less influence, so they said. And most recently, they put Jacob Zuma into a leadership position in the ANC, and then, of course, they were disappointed in what he did.